should be recording. Just gonna quickly look, and yes, there's the file. Yay! It's nice to see the file. I didn't get rid of old files that I don't need anymore, like previous streams. Alright, so, back in Siege of Centauri. There still hasn't been an update for it since Beta 2 released. Nothing wrong with that, just don't have anything especially new to talk about, so maybe I'll just slam my head. I think I'll turn down the difficulty, though, trying to get this done. Because that was definitely more than I could take. Just like, yes, what is the... I think that would probably be best. I don't mind admitting I'm an artist. Don't want to forget, the key for Siege of Centauri was provided. I think that's basically it. I did do one thing smart though. Before this started, I wrote out a list of things I can talk about. That's a good thing, because hopefully it will keep me from just rambling. Well, it might not, but also might. And I remember setting this stuff up before. And let me see. Yeah, I'll just quickly run through the list. Just telling you what they are. Obviously the AMD CPU and GPU announcements, along with some related things for that. The NVIDIA Supercards, NVIDIA FrameView, which I probably blather on about, and the Steam Labs Interactive Recommender. It's actually more to it than that, but you're coming from down here. Okay, at least they aren't moving. It's just I wish that there was something more clear on that. Alright, so that reminds me. Show me this. Scan. That might be what I want. Okay, yes. So that tells me what the air path is. That I do need. Right. What we need is if you could highlight that and then it shows the path they're going to take. Here they'll either go this way and get to that by building there. They can go up this way. Talk to me. So we do have some time. Put stuff down. I'm gonna have to like build up right here, I feel, which is not smart. In fact, it's straight up a bad idea. But it's what I can do. So yeah, the aliens. No, I'm not. Consensus reviews is they are very, very good. They do very well compete with Intel, but Intel for single threaded can still win a lot. Intel's long-held processing architecture advantage for clock speed really helpful. Basically, if you were hoping to get don't expect to get 5 gigabytes. Let's try to use the correct words. It's mainly just the mainly AMD only sent out the 3700X and 3900X, not the. They didn't send out the Ryzen 5s, which that's the 3600 and 3600 for the 3800. So it seems like they're seeing use of those as good. They had issues. They are working to figure that out. And new Pro 5 has gone out. But it still seems like that there are some issues. It is unfortunate, but it's what it is. I had air cover, so might as well get that. It seems, which is a shame. Right. Stick it somewhere. Upgrading, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting too much. But what I've seen it sound heavy. For a while. Maybe add more parts. They are upgrade that. They are more powerful than I was expecting. I mean, it seems like they are punching a bit higher than I and probably several other people were expecting. And with the price drops that they got are more interesting than I was expecting. There's supposed to be something this way too. One thing that like that. It's like typically it'll look random. Although this two chord may two chords a little bit better. Maybe more likely to look better. At some point I really need to get around to testing my head over fuck that. Like that. Ooh, that's kind of. Oh, probably cool. I think that's supposed to unlock stuff. It did, I don't see it here. Nope, that's not what I want. Archives. Structures. Artillery. Because we had that. That disappeared. Didn't drink water, by the way. Is that what I had? Or was it this? No, it was this that I had. Why does that unlock? Alright, yeah, leave it at this. Let's do one more. No, this, I guess this is what I unlocked. That's the Falcon anti-air. See, I wasn't sure if maybe it added in things that's just not showing you. We can look at this. But yeah, see the new... And then the memory actually does look pretty good. But it's also, what the hell? Am I already being attacked? They're just there already. Okay. So that and everything goes in there, which would mean heavy buildup here. Here potentially. Try to test this thing. Are they already attached? Yes, they are. That is... is not the exclusive, but it is also the contrast adaptive sampling, which is, I think it's part of the sharpening system, but it, I hate this, just like you build up so much for this. Such a loss of resources. It's also so impressive. Well, here, you just have to watch them come in. Yeah, the contrast adaptive sampling, though, that is that anything. Any of the GPUs are able. And in fact, now any GPU technically, because already somebody has ported it to reshape, so you can inject the contrast adaptive sampling in any game that reshapes works. Unfortunately, Yeah. Getting like that. NVIDIA's also released the 7 Art. Let's see. Good those exist. It's helpful. That's yeah, those are visually nice, but it's still like heavy. Yeah, that's it. Unless they just go buy it. That is for data and also for report power usage. I have looked at this. I am very impressed. For one thing, the training data said that we already have collecting that stuff. I was for OCAP, which has been out for a while now. Viable, and for whatever reason, NVIDIA's thing, they decided, oh, we're gonna change the name. I think because sometimes other data MSP present. Oh, sorry, MSP display thing. These two that maybe this could be an actually different metric, but I haven't seen the document that, so it could be that they're just assigning a new name to it, which is very annoying because I can't just use this thing. I don't know to trust it. I don't know that I can trust it. Yes, now I have the gravity thing. Okay. What are the options here? Oh! That I think I would actually prefer, but I can pull something off of something else. I don't feel like covering these last few things. But yeah, the frame, it just... I'll just quit out, in fact. But yeah, it's like it collects the data, which is nice. But I don't know why they have that one change there. And also the power data, I tried it on both my desktop and my test system, which, true, they do have AMD GPUs, the RX 580 and RX Vega 64 respectively. And it just didn't collect any power data. Now, true, I only ran for 10 seconds or 5 seconds, but it's still, I know that that data can be pulled at least once a second because I have other software that does that. Yes, AMD software, but it's also, well, it's not just AMD software. You also have things like hardware info, hardware monitor, and such that do capture power data once a second. Yeah, which is also kind of funny. Apparently, uh, NVIDIA tried to say that there's some errors there, that it captures a power value somewhere between chip power and board power, and it's so it's off. It's like we've had so many tools collecting this data, both from AMD and not from AMD, developed by other people. Why are you the only one now that's complaining about this? And also, PC Gamer had a quote there, and they put the whole thing in quotes, saying that you should talk to AMD to fix their API. And it's like, and the whole quote though they were attributing to NVIDIA, and it's like that. I mean, NVIDIA has done some stuff. I'm just like even the just saying that there's a problem here when no one else has reported this problem seems suspicious. But it's like straight up saying that. I hope that's not NVIDIA saying because that's even lower than I would expect of them. So maybe PC came through there and put the quote in the wrong spot, but it's still frame view. In no way is that impressive, and that's just the data that it gives you. It also has two options for the hotkey to start recording: scroll lock and F10. You cannot change it to anything else. That is just foolish. I like for me, I use print screen to um to start recording and to stop if I choose to stop and not just use the timer. Um, is it pause break or scroll lock? I don't remember which it is I use for engaging the overlay. The overlay for frame view is also always there. You don't have an option of that being enabled or not. It doesn't have a background, which makes it kind of hard to read at times. You can move its position around, but you cannot just disable it, which is nice to do. Can be nice to do at times. Like for OCAT, I have observed more issues trying to get the overlay to hook in. Like that will crash a game sometimes. Mostly when I notice that, it's like if I'm also trying to record with OBS at the same time. So it could be that the hooks from OBS and hooks to get the overlay in there, those are conflicting. So the overlay itself may be fine, is my point. It just can have bad interactions with other hooks. But it's still, you can't disable it, so it's like, well, if you have a compatibility problem, then you can't do anything except not use the software. I also did try it in my parents' computer that has a GTX 1050. Now, true, their drivers are not the most up to date, but it also was not collecting any power data. This makes no sense because it's an NVIDIA GPU, and even if it's like, oh, well, you need to use a newer driver to get the power data, it's like, why would the API that reports power, that, again, software has been able to access that for a while, why would you need to update that API to get this NVIDIA software to work? That doesn't make sense to me. So it seems there may be something else. To be fair, it is in beta, but it is in such a state, I don't know why they would have released in this, is my feeling. Unless they're just leaning very heavily on the mind share that they have, that they can put out a product that is clearly and obviously inferior to many alternatives. But because a lot of people are going to use it without considering other alternatives, I guess that they figure that's like, oh, we can get away with it. I don't know. I just know that personally, right now, I still have it on the system. I'm not going to use it. It doesn't give me things that I want, and also it does use presentmon for the frame time data, but the frame time data is like it's not complete. Like OCAD gives you the verbose, so you get a lot more data there to work with. And sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't. It's not been since the syncing Series Statistics Part 2, the syncing counter, that I really was looking at the others. But still, it's nice to have there, and it's just not there. Oh, it also doesn't have a blacklist. So I try recording, and at one point and says, okay, here's the data for. I was using Serious Sam Fusion 2017 initially. Here's the data for that. Here's the data for the desktop window manager, and here's the data for the Epic Game Launcher that was also just in the background. It's like neither, especially not DWM, should not be captured. But there is no blacklist. This is a basic feature of PresentMon. One nice thing though, and actually it's kind of because of me it exists, at least it does give separate CSVs, but that's a feature of PresentMon as well that they are using. Yeah, back when OCAD was first out, it did that. If you had to record, it would create separate files for each program that it captured data for. At one point, they updated OCAD and they updated the version of PresentMon in there and decided to try to have it be so they could almost like drag and drop. They could, it would be easier for them to they could. They changed it so that OCAD would just use whatever PresentMon version they gave it instead of having to have a custom version. And because we lost that feature, I reported it on GitHub in the issues, and they said, oh, we can't really bring that back because they'd have to add it every time to PresentMon. You know, try pointing out to the PresentMon, because that's also open source and on GitHub. Try reporting it there. If they get it fixed there, then obviously OCAD will get it. Reported that, and they did actually add it, which is awesome. Not just because I got some, I suggested something and got in, but also because it is so useful to have that. Otherwise, you'd need to go in and filter out anything you don't want. And I did have scripts for doing that. It's just a lot easier to not need to do that. But yeah, there is something I may try doing at some point in the future. I have no idea when. I've got other things to do first. That may have me doing some testing with NVIDIA GPU in the test system where I can make sure everything's up to date, try it, and see if frame view is working better. I doubt it, personally. It just seems, I've tests on 3 different systems, 3 different GPUs, one of them NVIDIA, not one of them did it capture the power data. I don't have my hopes high that I will get it to do that without an NVIDIA update to the software. And I will grant, I would like to be able to capture power data for NVIDIA as well, but because I can do that with AMD, that's easy, that's in their drivers. I can even have it pull every quarter second. Oh, and that's another thing, is that the way the table's set up, because it's PresentMon back end, it has a row for every frame. You're not going to be polling your power usage every frame, though. That wouldn't make much sense to me. You'd want to be polling, like, I mean, every quarter second would make some sense to me, but I wouldn't think that you'd want to be doing it on the order of, 20 milliseconds or less. It's like that I don't think that those values would be useful. So yes, it is possible that because I wasn't recording, say, a minute, that I wasn't getting power usage because of that. But it's still 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Polling once a second makes sense. You should be able to fill that in. It just wasn't. Let me see. So there's that. Yeah, frame view. There are much better tools out there. I don't know if ReaverTutor Statistics Server, is that what it is? RTSS? I don't remember if that. I've never really used it because the one time I did long ago, it hooked in and just the way it was hooking in, I didn't like. I don't know if it's able to capture power usage. It probably is, but it's able to save that stuff out. I don't know if it can do frame time, but you'd be able to get FPS depending on your polling frequency. It may not be too bad, or you could do like what I've done for the AMD GPUs, just start PresentMon going and start capturing the power data as well, and then just combine it. You do have that is a possibility, something you can do. It takes more manual work, but you can do it and be working with tools that separately offer are better tools than FrameView currently appears to be. In theory, FrameView could be really neat, but that's only in theory. It isn't there yet, at least not in my experience. And then there's also the last note I made was the Steam Labs, the interactive recommender thing, which is neat. It's a neat idea, at least. I'm just gonna get rid of that note because I don't need it anymore. Yeah, and I actually do need to stop this soon so I can get it uploaded. Yeah, it's Saturday. This is hours before the stream would normally go live. I forgot to record yesterday. Um, yeah, the interactive recommender, it's pretty neat. Valve put together a neural network that scanned playtime behavior. So, like, I just spent a fair amount of time, 40 minutes or so in Siege of Centauri, and I've been spending it that much to an hour over recent weeks. So it may see, oh, he does play tower defense games, but not necessarily all that often. Still, though, we can recommend that these other people, it actually doesn't look at genre. Forgive me for that. It may look to see, oh, these other people play Siege of Centauri as well, but they play these other games too. So I'll recommend these other games those people play to him, to me. Let me just see. I'm just looking at the review stuff. So, like F1 2019, I put in a fair amount of time in that. Hey, these other people play F1 2019. I recommend these games that they also play. My Fan Pedro, the City of Sam Fusion 2017, Shadow of Tomb Raider, same kind of idea, where they look at what your play behavior is and then make recommendations based on what other people with similar behaviors have done. And what's neat about it being based on that data, which true, technically it's not necessarily going to work so well for games that people AFK in, but it still is a way to recommend something without looking at what are the reviews for the game, what is the genre of the game. It's completely naive to that. But it also doesn't need it, in theory. In fact, it doesn't technically even need to know the name of the game. They can just use the Steam IDs for each game. So I'm just curious, what is it? For Siege of Centauri, that should be 524010. It could just use that, and not the actual name. It's not until later that it can look up the names. So yeah, I mean, it's. Sorry, I looked at the forum thread at the forums for Siege of Centauri, and Mission 9, which is the one I actually did, the first one I did, that bugged an imbalance, and one of these is talking about the drone base not always attack enemies though they are in range. I think that's more just the projection is very poor. Anyway, I don't want to keep reading that. But yeah, the interactive recommender, it is an interesting tool. One thing I wish though is that, because you can have it change two parameters, age of the game and its popularity, so that you can have like a very popular game. Here, let me actually pull up what it recommends for me, which is a little funny actually. And I do wish that you could just say no, don't recommend this game. Don't recommend certain games like Fallout 4. I'm sorry, I'm past the time that I would have cared for that. I'm not a big Bethesda RPG fan. I've talked about this before. Just the design, just stuff I don't really care for. Where it's like, oh, you need to talk to everyone in the world if you want to get everything. And it's just I'm not a big fan of that. I don't remember that option being there before. Exclude wish-listed games. But they should also have one to exclude, to just be able to have a list of games to exclude anyway, like The Witcher 3, because I have that on GOG. I don't need that here. Yeah, that it has third. One is Fallout 4. It's like, I can understand why you'd recommend that to me, but I'd like to be able to say, don't recommend that to me. Enslaved Odyssey to the West. I don't actually know much about that game. Valley, Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2, at some point I would like to play, but it's not high on my list. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, maybe at some point. Far Cry 4. I guess, yeah, I have that in Ubisoft, on Uplay. I don't have that in Steam. I have Far Cry 5 in Steam. I still need to play that at some point. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. I'm not sure why that would be recommended. Subnautica, I have that because of the Epic Games Store free stuff, which, by the way, the current one is Torchlight. The next one is Limbo. Torchlight is a good game. Limbo I haven't played yet. Singularity, that kind of actually, yeah, I remember seeing good stuff about that a while ago. Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. Not sure why I would necessarily recommend that to me. I'd have to check on what it is. Some more. I know it's RPG. fantasy, which on its own, yeah, makes sense. South Park Stick of Truth. Actually, there's part of me that would like to play at some point. I just don't know when. That may be like a $5 game pickup for me. And also when it's like I don't have 50 other games I should play first. Paul Juarez Gunslinger, Rogue Legacy, Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, which straight up it shouldn't recommend. I have Sleeping Dogs. I have it for, and I have all the DLC. So I do have the Definitive Edition. It just isn't labeled as Definitive Edition. Doom 3, BFG, yeah. Bayonetta, kind of. That actually is on my wish list. Oh wait, no, it isn't. Vanquish is. They're both platinum games, though. Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition. You see, that also, it shouldn't be there. I have Fallout 3. It may not be labeled as Game of the Year Edition, but I do have it and all of its DLC. Castlevania Lord of Shadow Ultimate. I've never touched a Castlevania game. Maybe that would be good for me, I don't know. Nier Automata. I kind of understand that. Why I would recommend that. Battleborn. No. Tales from the Borderlands. No. I don't. Battleborn, I did play a little bit of back when it was first coming out. I think I even streamed in it. Didn't care much for it at the time. It may be better now. Tales from the Borderlands, I don't care for those, that kind of story. The point and click, that kind of game. It's just me. Dead Cells, that I could understand. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship. I do have Guacamelee. I don't have that version of it, and I didn't care much for it. That is a game maybe at some point I will replay with a controller, so it's not so wonky. But still, I didn't care for it. It's not a bad game. I just didn't care for it. The Signal from Tolva. Don't know that one. Ziggurat. Don't really know that one. I've seen it come up sometimes though. Max Payne 3. I don't know. Far Cry Primal. Have that reviewed. It just on Uplay though. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive. That I've heard good things about, so that would be interesting. Lichdom Battle Mage. And that is with popular at like 30%. Well, 60% towards popular. Yeah. Include only releases since 10 years ago, and you can move that up. But it's also be nice because you can filter by tags, but horror isn't an option. I do need horror games. But yeah, there should be some way to have a list of the games you have on other platforms and be able to say, yeah, I don't exclude those. I already have them. Oh, look at this. Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Alright, looking at it, I kind of get the idea. I don't know. I might enjoy it. I don't feel like getting it right now. I do find it interesting they launched it after the Steam sale, though. Anyway, that should do it for this week. I'm already at almost an hour. I got an hour and a half for this to upload. It's gonna take longer than that, is my guess. Alright, yeah, so that's everything. Hopefully next week I remember to record this earlier. Maybe we'll also get an update to Siege of Centauri, which I do feel like that first one that I did, it could be. I don't like that I felt I needed to turtle in just the 2 entries. That isn't what you want in a tower defense game. Now, true, they have had others where it's like, oh, there's so many entries, but then it's like, well, you're still trying to turtle there. And just restricting where you can build there, that I don't like that. And I also feel like how some of the design, if they made it where you could like build a wall, some sort of energy wall that either deflects them or or if they go through, they take damage. I do feel like that could be useful here. It just, I'm not hot on the balance for at least at one level. The other one seemed right, but the sparrows should not have been spawned in a location that they were already attacking something, because then you don't have that time to prepare. And also the projection issue, yes, come on. You need to fix that so that you actually know what the range is. Because currently this thing where it can be off by a great distance, as we were seeing with the drone bay, that is a problem. That really is a quality of life problem. Hopefully that will be addressed. In theory, you just needed to project down, or you need to offer a complete top-down view. But yeah, we can do this. Can we please do it? Alright, see you next time. Probably will still be in this game. I don't think there's anything coming up that, that'd make me change. I'm honestly, though, I don't even remember what all is coming up. I'm sure there are games coming out before long that I'm gonna be trying to get to review and all that. I've been so focused on things to do right now, I don't see the future. Alright, see you next time.